Good morning, Gary. This could be a short session today. Oh, no, here we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. More people are coming in. Yes. Okay.
This is weird how this happens. It's the same on the pick. I mean, yeah, on the pick calls, I'm there at 45, at 1:45, and
Yeah.
nobody comes in till like the top of the hour when it starts. It's like weird. Morning, Peggy. Morning, Michelle.
Morning, Peggy, Michelle, Gary.
Hi.
Yeah. Nice to see everyone. Good morning. Good morning. All right, we're going to go
Let's
ahead and
go.
get started.
Yep.
Um, so it's a little bit of a different thing. I don't know what you guys will be able to hear. I have my AirPods on purpose. I'm at the Achieve BizXplosion conference in Denver, Colorado, and they just started, so there's much cheering and everything off to the side over there. I just got here a few minutes ago. The place is energetic and electric, and it's certainly exciting to be here. And it's so excited to see all of you here as well. So it just feels a bit discombobulated. Well, it's because I am. Uh, my name is Terza Ekholm. Welcome to Open Office Hour with Terza and Helen of Zanikin Studio. And good morning, Helen. We're from Brighton early in New Zealand. And Helen, go ahead and ask everyone what we're doing with AI, and then we'll jump into our little demo this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Kia ora, and welcome to today's AI Open Office. So, my question for you this morning, as is every Friday, what have you been using AI for this week? I haven't been venturing much into AI this week. I've been busy with projects and stuff with genealogy. So I've been using AI, the ChatGPT, to transcribe handwritten documents for genealogy. So putting it in there, not only transcribe but translate. So if it's in another language, it translates it into English and then transcribes what the document says, which is totally awesome because it can take hours. Once you figure out the handwriting style, you've got to figure out the handwriting style, then figure out is that an F or an S? And yes, F and S's kind of look the same in the 1800s handwriting of America. They kind of go up like this and down, and then over. But it looks like the S's look like a little F in handwriting. So you got to tune in. You got to be in the right frame of mind to do it. AI has made that so much easier. You just drop it in there. It translates it. It translates and transcribes it, and then you can go back and check all the writing and everything else. So that's what I've been using AI for this week. Have I been in? I don't think I've been in NotebookLM this week. No, I haven't. So what else have we been using AI for? And the crowd goes wild. Which AI translate? ChatGPT. You upload the image of the document and it transcribes it all for you. Transcribes and translates. So if I want it to transcribe it into English and then translate it into English and transcribe it, it'll go and do it for me.
So that's an improvement because it didn't used to do that.
It's been doing it for a long time. I've been using it for the last 18 months for that, the ChatGPT.
Oh, I used it when it first started and it wouldn't translate, wouldn't transcribe. So I sent you guys an email because it was really interesting. I used, and I don't remember what I put in there, but I have a book, as most of you know, that build your nest egg. And I have been asked to turn that into to a classroom. So there's 26 chapters. I was going to do syllabus for 26 for each chapter. So I went to Claude, and Claude said it couldn't do it. So I went to Chat and Perplexity, and I put the same prompts into both of them because I wanted to see what the differences were. And I asked it if it would give suggestions and outline so that I would have an idea of, how to put that together. So it was really interesting. They both gave Perplexity put something pretty detailed together. Chat gave me a bunch of suggestions. You could do this, you could do that, you could do the other thing. Where Perplexity actually laid out an outline. But what I liked about Chat was that it gave me ideas and suggestions. So unfortunately, I have now on my second printer that doesn't print because I like to work with the paper. And so I have not moved forward on that. But I thought I wanted to use two different AIs because exactly that. I wanted to see if they had different attitudes or different thought process or whatever. But and here's chat patting me on the back the whole, oh, that sounds really good. Oh, the classrooms really could use that. Oh, this is wonderful. You're doing that. None of that from Perplexity. So I mean, it's just so interesting. So that's what I did this past week. And hopefully I'll get a printer that prints and move forward. But I still
Awesome.
have to set up appointments with people that are the ones that requested it because I don't know what they want. And I want to start this at preschool, so at the age of 2 to 3 years old. So I'll have 14, I'll do 14 um, different, because a 2 year old, 3 year old doesn't think like a 16-year old, right? So you've got to put it together for how that mind works. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a total learning, total learning. So that's what I did this
Awesome.
week. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Excellent. Gary.
I didn't do a whole lot, but what something Peggy said sparked a thought is that I'm really making use of two different LLMs. I'm writing a book, and so that is very useful for me. And it saves me. I'm trying to get it done quickly, and I'm taking a lot of data and smashing it into a book. So having two different points of view is very, very useful, and it saves a lot of analysis because now I am analyzing the analysis instead of analyzing, I might get, 5 pages of results in a document, and then instead of just starting at the top and going through it. First of all, that 5 pages is like, it saved me, 6 hours of work or whatever. And then I just take it into another LLM. And so right now I'm bouncing between Claude and ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a better critic for me, and Claude is a better um, producer. So Claude, I get better results from Claude. And so I'm using ChatGPT as my backup, as my backup and my critic of Chat. And then I feed it back. I say, "This is what the other LLM said about you. What do you pull from it?" And now I've got three different passes, and I just can read what they say, and I say, "Yeah, I agree. No, I don't agree with that." And so that one comment of what I agree with or what I don't agree with now affects, multiple paragraphs of work. So I'm taking what I'm doing, giving a lot of guidance, I'm leveraging it. And then what I don't want to do is I don't want to end up with something that sounds like AI. So the end result of what I'm doing is I'm going high level to low level. I'm going, I've got a writer's guide of what the thing is supposed to be. Here's the project. Then I'm doing a blueprint for the book. Then from the blueprint, I'm producing an outline which is very detailed. And so the blueprint, I can kind of say, yeah, that's what the thing is supposed to look like. Yes. The outline is, yeah, now boom, boom, boom. Everything that I'm going to write, I just want it all there in a bullet point or very compact format. Because then when I write it, it's got to be me, my voice. I don't want it to be AI, but I want all the stuff already decided, and now I'm just putting it into my voice. So that's the way and ping-ponging back and forth between the two LLMs and going from high level and successive refinement has been a very good discipline for me.
Awesome. Awesome. And one thing that I do when I'm writing out paragraphs and stuff, and I get AI to suggest, and I get like ChatGPT to suggest some, I will copy and paste it back into the text box and go, "Can you have a look at this and proof it?" So
I do that.
it's actually proofing its own work, and I will also ask it to rate it for its effectiveness or engagement levels. Give me an engagement level out of, like if I'm doing a social media post, and I say, "Please rate the engagement level that I will get out of this out of 10." And it'll come back and go, "It's a 7.5 out of 10. I said, "What do we need to do to it to make it a 10 out of 10?"
That's good. And AI can get pretty good results, but you
Mm.
can also run something through an AI checker and it will say that's AI generated, and I don't want somebody to point at my book and say that was AI generated. So I'm
Yeah.
actually putting it into my voice. So
Put /human at the beginning of the thing, /human. That way it makes it sound more human than it does machine.
and there are still tools that will spot that, but I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. Yeah. If for blog posts and most stuff, if I wasn't worried about somebody coming along and debunking it and saying that was AI generated, I agree with you. I could get pretty good results, very close to what I would write, but it would still, if for the AI checker tools, they would still be able to detect that. Anyway, thank you.
Not if you retype it. Actually retype it in a document, then copy and paste it. The AI checker that can't turn around and say that it's AI generated at that point, because the little thingamybobs that it puts in there are no longer there.
Well, it's not just the thingamabobs it puts in. This is the last thing I'm going to say, is that it's algorithm predicted, and it's based on the probability, and so an LLM is predicting what the most likely word is next, and AI checkers are pretty good at finding that. But anyway, I'm done. Thank you for your
Thank
results.
you.
I'm not debunking anything you're saying. I agree with it, and I'm just pointing out a little nuance.
Cool, thank you. All right, for those of you who just turned up, Nancy and Dean and Robert and Marcy, welcome, welcome. We're just going through what you used AI for this week. So who's next telling us what they used AI for this week?
Yes, I will.
Go, Michelle.
Yeah, it's actually just kind of an odd mishmash of things. Some
We love
research on,
mishmash.
yeah,
The odder the better.
yeah, like research on things, like arguing with ChatGPT about something I was dealing with and trying to understand and doing some analysis on. And then through that process, I wound up with a really amazing insight about something that had been blocking me in terms of like my situation and where I'm located, and something that was really strongly missing from my life that's very critical to me that I hadn't been able to put my finger on. And so now I don't know how I'm going to solve it, but at least I'm aware of it. And then there was other things that was just like trying to figure out tech issues, like whether it was something with batteries in a mouse and why certain ones would work and certain ones wouldn't, even though they're all the same type of battery, and various other things of that sort. Like, I don't know, I had a handful of things. It was just like, I'm like, oh, okay. So I did that and checked all these things and did whatever. And like most of them I resolved. There's one that I'm still trying to figure out. Like, still doesn't make any sense, but okay. Like, we'll figure it out. And then just a little bit of work on my own business stuff and like some marketing related things and getting some feedback and finishing up some refinement on a couple things.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. That really is a mishmash. That's awesome. Love it. Anybody else want to share what they've been using AI for this week? No? Okay, Terza, it's over to you. And for those that just joined us, Terza is actually at a conference in Denver, so if you hear a lot of background noise, she has stepped out of the auditorium to join us today. So take it away, Terza.
All right. Thank you. And thank you guys for sharing what you do. I'm always loving to hear what you guys are working on. And I am just thrilled that we get to be together on this journey, because it has just been amazing. So this week, I was able to do several of my AI sanity audits. I've had some really great conversations with people. But then behind the scenes, I'm using AI to help me translate the information I have into into useful, what I hope are useful insights. And then I put those insights into NotebookLM and have it generate slides for me based on my specifications. And then I have NotebookLM also generate a script for me, and then I customize a video then specifically for each person. And these are the sort of things that I could have only dreamed of doing, even 5 years ago. And so I'm refining the process as I go. So I'm super excited about that. As I said last week, I took this last week's recording, I put it into, I went over to Codex and I created a workflow there, but I did it step by step. So I had Codex go over to my Zoom account, pull the transcript, give me the YouTube metadata that I needed. So that was just like 2 steps. And then I had it give me the newsletter data, which is the 3rd step. And once I had done that a couple of times, because I did it on some previous recordings just to see how it would do, then I said, great, make this a workflow. And it wrote me up another document, and it says, next week, just give me this document and the title of your Zoom recording, and I will handle the rest, which, by the way, doesn't mean it goes off and posts to YouTube or go high level, but it prepares everything for me. So, and then, of course, like you, Gary, I go through and edit everything carefully because I want it to sound like me and I want it to sound useful. So that alone right now, it has freed up enormous amounts of time for me and made me feel more confident. In the meantime, couple of the people I met with have been using Claude for super great results. So I decided to finally dive right in. I upgraded my Claude account to the Pro, just to the next level. And I got to tell you guys, the little bit I've done so far, I am just blown away. So, for example, even for this conference, I said, I chatted with it about networking, and it said, oh, you absolutely, you should run right out and get business cards printed. And I said, do people really still do paper business cards? And it said, oh, excuse me, that was so 1996, and this is 2026. And it guided me towards making a digital landing page, which I then put a QR code for. So, and also, of course, because I pay attention to my business coach who talks about the best way to network, I'm going to be using that method here. I've already done it this morning, had a great conversation with somebody. And then I said, hey, do you mind if we just take a selfie and we'll connect a little later? And she said, oh, yeah, of course. And this does 2 things. One is all the wonderful things that Casey said about it. But the second thing is, then it gives me a really graceful exit to say, been really great meeting you. I'm going to go off and talk to some more people. And because this is a networking conference, of course, she says, oh, yeah, of course. So I don't feel awkward.
It's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
So at the last open office hour, Dean asked about GitHub. So I dug a lot more into it. GitHub is, it's an online repository for code. There are people all over the world, developers, who have been coding for a long time, and they use GitHub to put their code into this repository. Some of it they make public and share with each other, so it's just public and everybody just builds on other things that people are building on, which is totally cool. The other thing that it's really super good for is versions. So I have a great, Helen just put the video about that. Thank you so much, Helen. Any of us can do it. The question is whether we really need to be doing it. And so hang on a second here. So I had a conversation with Claude about this, and I said, help me explain this to entrepreneurs who've never done this sort of thing before. And they gave me this whole long thing. And I said, okay, that's really great. Can you maybe turn it into a story? And he gave me this great story, which I put into NotebookLM and made a video with it. And then I kind of went, it's still not what I'm looking for. So I gave Claude a little bit more of the context about what I was trying to achieve. And it said, oh, okay, I get it. And it gave me the elements to create this video. So if it's all right with you, we'll go ahead and play the video because I think it really explains things. That's one. 2, Claude, or maybe Anthropic gave me an email after I signed up for Claude Pro, which allowed me to sign up for a course offered by Anthropic that explains exactly what Claude CoWork is and how to use it. And I will share that link with you too. I might have to go look it up in my email or just put it in the email later. I really encourage you to take it. Warning, the very first video in the very first module, for those of us who don't necessarily appreciate the fast talking, fast screens, shots, it's really exciting. It's only a minute, and it's just an introduction. I watched it and went, okay, cool. And then I went down through the rest of the module, which was text and an interactive exercise. Really drives home why Claude CoWork is super useful. And this very first part, the reason if you don't do any other part of the course, at least do the first module, because what we're doing is a mind shift from chatting with our LLMs, no matter which one you use, to asking it to do things for us. That's a first mindset shift. After we get used to doing that, then we'll notice for ourselves, or we're working with somebody, what gets repeated, and then you can start to move into automation. And everything I've heard from people who are doing this is like, oh my God, I got so much time. I mean, one person I did an audit for said, we're just chatting about the tools, and she said, I don't know what to say. She says, because it's giving me back so much time that now I've joined 2 golf clubs and a pickleball club. And she says, so now I have all this free time, she says, which allows her to go do the things that she loves to do. But that also means she's also meeting people who also love doing that, some of which tend to be her clients. And she doesn't have to network so much as just they're out there chatting and they talk about stuff. And she's starting to get clients that way too. So just saying, if we can, each of us get to a point where we have a little bit more free time because AI is doing some of the heavy lifting, that's what we want to do. So, so first, I'll go ahead and play this video. Hold on, I will do it directly from I should share the screen, shouldn't I? That'll work better. If for any reason it doesn't work, I may have Helen play it on her end. And the only reason it might not work is because I have the AirPods on and you won't be able to hear anything.
Do you want to shoot me the link real quick and I'll put it up and I'll share it from this end so that we can hear it? Because if you've got AirPods in, we won't hear it.
Okay. Well, go ahead and can you just play it from your side?
Is it the GitHub video or is it the other one?
Yeah. No, the GitHub video.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Give me a second. Okay. We can do that. We can do anything.
Thank you.
Woman, hear me roar.
So wonderful to have a co-host.
All right, let's see if we can get this to go. Share screen. That would be helpful if we did that. Is this the right one?
That's it.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into this massive, kind of quiet debate that's been raging in the developer and AI communities. We are talking about the collision between traditional coding and this wild new era of AI-assisted generation. Specifically, we're navigating the threshold between rigorous version control, using things like GitHub, and casual vibe coding with AI tools like Claude. If you've been using AI to generate code, scripts, or automations, you've probably felt this intense pressure to professionalize your workflow. But do you actually need to? Well, let's find out. So let's just tackle the giant elephant in the room right away. There is this pervasive, heavy expectation floating around right now, which is essentially telling every Claude user that they need to learn Git. It's this looming pressure that the very second you start prompting an AI to write a Python script, you must immediately adopt the workflows of a senior software engineer. But here is the liberating truth. The reality? Most everyday users simply don't need version control. You can take a deep breath and literally let go of that pressure right now. The vast majority of people generating code with AI are not building massive, scalable enterprise systems. And honestly, treating them like they are is a huge mistake. Which brings us to section 1, the great GitHub misconception. We've seriously got to stop forcing these heavy professional developer tools onto everyday folks who are really just trying to automate simple tasks. Imagine someone using an AI assistant to write a quick script that, sorts their messy downloads folder. Why in the world would they need a distributed version control system for that? GitHub just becomes friction at that point. It makes the simple act of solving a personal problem feel like a grueling IT project. Okay, let's dive right into section 2. 3 people, 3 paths. First up, we have Maya. Maya is what we like to call a vibe coder. She explores AI purely for fun. She might ask Claude to build her a quirky little image generator or maybe a customized cat trivia game. She plays with it heavily for a week, tweaks some colors, shows her friends, and then completely forgets about it by next month. She's just exploring, iterating, and vibing with the tech. So think about it. Does Maya actually need GitHub? Should she be tracking every single prompt and tiny code tweak in a professional repository? No way, absolutely not. For Maya, GitHub is literally just bureaucracy for a hobbyist. If she had to set up a repo, manage commits, and push changes just to play around with an image generator, it would instantly make her fun hobby feel like tedious work. It totally kills the magic of instant creation. All right, next up, let's look at James. James is our personal automation guy. He's a bit more advanced than Maya, sure, but his scope is entirely local. He uses tools like Claude CoWork to automate his home office. He's got scripts running on his laptop every morning that monitor his inbox, file his PDF documents, and send him weekly expense summaries. It's his own personal infrastructure. So let's ask that same question again. Does James need to meticulously track all his code changes? He relies on these scripts every day, so surely he needs version control, right? Actually, scratch that. No, he doesn't. If a script breaks, say an email format changes and his parser suddenly fails, he just pastes the error back into Claude and asks it for a fix. He is the only one affected. There is zero stakes beyond his own personal time. For James, setting up GitHub adds friction with absolutely no tangible benefit. And finally, we have Sarah. Now, Sarah's situation is a totally different ballgame. She started out just like Maya and James, tinkering with a side project. Maybe it was a simple script to gather client feedback. But over time, her project grew. It evolved into a real, business-critical system that serves as the backbone for her entire agency. Her journey brilliantly illustrates the path to production. It usually happens in steps. Step 1, the prototype works really well as a side project. Step 2, it becomes business critical. Step 3, Sarah gets way too busy, so she hires a developer to maintain it. And boom, step 4, GitHub becomes absolutely necessary. The dynamic has fundamentally shifted. So, for the final time in this section, does Sarah need GitHub? Yes. Without a doubt, she has crossed the threshold. Other people, her clients, her newly hired maintainer, they all now depend on this code. If it breaks, she can't just casually ask Claude to fix it while she sips her morning coffee. A break means her agency halts. Mistakes now cost real money and real trust. GitHub is completely non-negotiable here. This perfectly tees up section 3, the chaos principle. So we've seen the stories, but we really need a concrete mental model here. When do you actually cross that invisible threshold into needing version control? What's the real difference between James's laptop scripts and Sarah's agency backbone? Well, it really comes down to 4 specific triggers. 1, multiple people depend on the code. 2, it runs somewhere you can't just easily restart it, like a production server. 3, breaking the code costs money or damages customer trust. And 4, you need an audit trail to know exactly what changed, when, and by whom, so you can easily roll back. If you hit literally any of these, you need Git. The contrast here is super stark. On one hand, imagine a personal script breaks. You instantly know it, you fix it, no big deal. But on the other hand, a script your entire team depends on goes down. Suddenly, it's total chaos. It's a mystery. Who touched it last? What exactly did they change? Hours of productivity just vanish across multiple people while you try to untangle the mess. So, here's the crucial takeaway. GitHub isn't about being a serious programmer or proving you're a professional. It is strictly, entirely a tool designed to prevent chaos. If there is no risk of widespread chaos, like with our friends Maya or James, there's absolutely no point in using the tool. Let's move to our final part, section 4, a guide for entrepreneurs. Now, what's really interesting here is how this simplifies your decision-making process into 4 totally relatable scenarios. If you hire someone to build an AI script just for your own personal use, the action is simple. Use Claude, iterate, and just send me the final script. What if a team's going to touch it? Put it on GitHub so we track changes. What if it runs your actual business? GitHub is mandatory for rollbacks. And what if it's just a one-off task, like converting 500 PDFs once? Just email the script. Once it runs, throw the whole thing away. And that brings us right to the core nuance of this whole explainer. The big mistake is forcing Git on every single Claude user, just because they happen to be generating code. Most of them are just automating their own lives, right? But the nuance is that, as a leader, you must absolutely require Git for anyone building something critical for your business. It's all about matching the heaviness of the tool to the severity of the stakes. I want to leave you with a final thought to help you instantly evaluate your own AI coding workflow today. Ask yourself this simple question. Are you preventing chaos, or are you just automating your life? If you're just making your day-to-day easier, keep vibing. Keep playing with the AI and enjoy that freedom. But the second you start building a system that other people rely on, it's time to cross the threshold. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding, whichever path you choose.
So I don't understand that last question. Eliminating chaos or automating your life. Though, to me, those don't seem to be a dividing line between whether to use GitHub or not. Because for me, I could see that applying to me for both, and I wouldn't need GitHub for either one.
Sure, that makes sense. It was just trying to make the distinction between a lot of us solopreneurs are starting to get into vibe coding, and we're super excited about it. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't go off and use GitHub. I just want you to pause and create the things that matter to you first, right? And then if you're feeling more adventurous, or you have a sidekick like a developer who's willing to work with you, then by all means go ahead and go on to GitHub. There's a lot of really cool stuff out there on GitHub. So you can certainly delve into it, but things do get a little more complicated. So I'm not saying don't do it. For those of us who are a little more technically adventurous, absolutely.
But just real quick, it
Yeah,
sounded like they were talking about GitHub more as a version control application. So that's where you say, I want to be able to go back and step back 3 versions because that one was working and something broke. Whereas what you're talking about also is going to GitHub, and a lot of people post their stuff on GitHub for public consumption, and you can actually pull stuff that other people are developing and use that for your own code because I guess it's all open source. Is that right?
yes. Quite a bit of it is open source, actually.
Okay.
My caution again is, I'm just going to say my opinion is most people are well-meaning and not trying to break the internet or your stuff, and they genuinely share what they're doing. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean it's going to work well for you, and it might cause issues. And I do have a cautionary tale. It's not about GitHub. Um, I woke up at 5 this morning. Sometimes I just wake up early. And so I happened to glance at some of my messages, and one of them was from X. X emailed me saying, "You have 24 notifications." And I thought, it's from my alternate X account. And I thought, which is, by the way, on-chain Nana. And I thought, X has never sent me a message about that. What's that about? So I go over to on-chain Nana, which I haven't touched for weeks. And and the notifications were nothing special. There was nothing alarming about anything. It's people posting this or that. But so I went and looked at my posts, and I was horrified. There's like dozens and dozens and dozens of what are basically status messages from a bot that wasn't working. And part of the reason maybe that it wasn't working was because I had shut it off, I thought. So then I'm in a panic, and I go over to ChatGPT and I go, what do I do? And it guided me through. I just went back into my settings and identified where they were. And it turned out I had Marblism, AutoHive, and something called AirShare, which I think is attached to Marblism. And the posts actually stopped on May 20th. So I had successfully stopped it. But since I hadn't gone and actually looked at anything, I didn't realize how many it happened. And so, long story short, I was doing some debugging in AutoHive earlier in May, ran into some problems. I told AutoHive to do this automatic check every 5 minutes. And I got frustrated with the debugging process and just said, okay, fine, shut it down. I'm not going to work with this right now. And it shut down all but this 5 minute checking command. And the reason I found out about that was because AutoHive said, oh, we just charged you $20 more because I had set up auto top up. And what are you talking about? And it took me a while to figure out where that was. And once I shut that off, there was no more activity. But in the meantime, just be cognizant. That was just my own doing, okay? That wasn't anything public. But when you start working with things out in the open domain, open share, just be cognizant of the fact that many people are well-meaning, but they might put stuff out there that's buggy. That's just life. It's better if I were to say, oh, I trust Gary and I trust Dean, and if they say this is cool, well, let me go check it out. And besides that, if it doesn't work, I can come back and yell at you guys. Versus somebody I had never heard of who put something that sounds cool out there on GitHub. So that's all I'm saying. It really, when people say the wild, wild west, sure, but it's the wild, wild west all over the world because there are developers everywhere and with varying levels of expertise. So, Dean's already working good stuff. Would you like to say a little bit more about that, Dean?
Yeah, so what was interesting is when I asked you about GitHub last week and to do something here, I was kind of lost because it's a whole nother world in there. And I downloaded Claude for desktop app and I have Claude CoWork, and Claude couldn't go into GitHub and find things for me. And so I found what seemed to be a fantastic real estate investment calculator. I have probably 4 different Excel spreadsheets that calculate different types of real estate investments for, one for each case, anyway, long story short, yesterday, now that I've upgraded Claude's skills, I'm like, can you go out and find some real estate tools for me in GitHub? And Claude said, well, sure, and Claude found about 4 or 5 uh, calculators or something that I was looking for, and asked me if I wanted to, pull them back. And so I started asking questions. I go, is there any kind of a rating system, like 5-star, whatever, so you know what other people have said and what you're getting? And Claude responded to me and said, well, no, not really. It's not really a formal, you will get feedback from so many people downloading and so forth, but there isn't a rating system. So you're really on your own. And it's called a PR, pull request, right? So what was interesting was there was one that I really liked, and Claude let me know this one is really complicated. It's not web-based. You would have to pull it down. You would have to install it. You would have to, and just named about 6 or 7 steps I would have to do just to use it to see if I liked it. And in the meantime, you know what Claude CoWork did? I described the 4 Excel calculator spreadsheets that I have for the different types of real estate investments. And in the background, without asking me, it produced a calculator for all 4 of those things in one interface. And basically, it knew what I was looking for in GitHub, because there was one that, I mean, the way the description of it was amazing, that it did these 4 things where I had 4 separate Excel spreadsheets, and so without asking me, it went ahead and made one for these 4 calculators. And I looked up and I said, oh my God, you already wrote one. He says, yeah, you don't even have to download that from GitHub and take the risk. So I need to work on it, because with mine in real estate, there's certain things like the insurance and taxes and things like that. There's percentages that you have to, make pull downs for. But anyway, so I thought I was pretty amazed that it made this really quick and easy interface. And I wanted to edit it, and I asked, how is this? And it made it all in HTML for me, which I think is great because then once Claude and I fix this to where I can use it, I can literally shape it that when I'm in the field and I'm looking at properties, I can just have it on my phone and use it right there because it's HTML. So, but anyway, the reason I popped in here to say something about this was what I learned yesterday was you do have to be careful. You want to look at the history. How long ago is the author of what you want to download? Are they active? Are they actively using that and developing it, or did they post it 3 years ago and forget about it? And then and if it doesn't have a lot of downloads and it doesn't have a lot of feedback, be careful.
Excellent words to the wise, Dean. And I am so thrilled by what you are discovering by working alongside of Claude. Exactly.
I'm only giving you the happy story.
Oh.
But I want to thank you and Helen for putting together that video because it really kind of completes the picture for me of understanding what GitHub is and what it isn't.
Yeah, very cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share the link to the Anthropic course for Claude CoWork. And I'll share my screen so you can just have just so I can show you what it looks like when you do sign up for it. But you will, it surprised me because it said, you need to go off and sign up for Skillshare. And I'm like, what? But I went ahead and did it, and I'm glad I did. When you finally get there, it'll look like this. It does say Anthropic Academy, Introduction to Claude CoWork, and as you can see, I've done one whole lesson, which is the what is Claude CoWork. And like I said, I haven't even looked at the other things yet, but this one thing already gave me quite a bit of understanding. So here's the cool, fast-paced video. I'm not saying don't watch it, it's only a minute. But then it goes further down. It's got the text article, what it is, read this. It gives this thing that gives you explanations of what the tasks are. And then when you get down here, it gives you a little more information. And then what I really liked best about that is to go ahead and do this little interactive thing, because that will, whether you get the answers right or wrong, it will explain what you got right or what you got wrong about it. And it will really drive home the difference between chatting, using CoWork, and using code. And, I'm encouraging anyone to use them to the best of your ability. And if you find something that you really don't want to do, go find somebody who's already done it or has an experienced coder, and either hire them to do it or ask them for their assistance. Either way, because I don't want you to be afraid of this stuff. But I really highly recommend at least this one lesson. In the meantime, I've been yesterday I started diving even more into Claude. Let me stop sharing this, and I'll show you. I'm still using ChatGPT. I do a lot of chatting with ChatGPT. I know in fact, I asked Claude if I could move my information from ChatGPT over to Claude, and it kind of outlined the process for doing that. I didn't do any of it because my my personal preference, is I'm going to keep all that stuff that I do on ChatGPT, and I'm still going to go talk to ChatGPT and use Codex and learn how to use what's going on there. In the meantime, though, I'm not going to stop using what seems to be working really well, and that's Claude. So here's the cool thing. My sister's also in business. She does a different AI level business. But she said she did a whole bunch of stuff in ChatGPT that she loves. So now what she does is she will go ask ChatGPT to help her write the prompts for Claude or Claude CoWork. And ChatGPT says, yeah, sure, copy and paste this into Claude. Again, there's just different ways to use these tools. I think they're all super amazing. Peggy's been using Perplexity. I also love Perplexity. At some point when it goes to renew, I'll probably let it go. But here's the thing, like the others, Perplexity has created its own super useful thing. It's agentic platform where it'll help you automate things. It's already been suggesting to me, hey, don't you want to upgrade the computer? It calls its agentic platform computer. And I've been so tempted, but its lowest price per month is $40 a month. And it's like, okay, I've already got other stuff I'm paying for. So if anybody ever gets into Perplexity and uses computer, I'd be delighted to hear what your results are. So with that, any questions or comments? Is this been helpful, and what might you like to see next week? Quiet group this morning. All right, I will share a little bit of what has been going on with Claude. So I have, oh wait, go ahead, Sarah.
Well, I just wanted to say that I love this, Terza, and I love hearing what the possibilities are. Listening today, I'm like, I think this is way over my head. So, maybe if you could spend each week, maybe just 15 minutes on things that are a little more simple or starting slowly on something, that would be awesome. I don't know if anybody else is in the same boat as I am, but I love this AI work, and it has changed my life. And I can't imagine ever needing GitHub, although, it's out there, you never know. So, but I just wanted to throw that in. So, wherever that fits, I'd appreciate it. So.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. What I was contemplating doing was maybe spending some time next week talking about Marblism, because I'm going to miss it today, but they apparently have a meeting going on, I think about noon my time, or maybe it's, anyway, they're presenting their next level of whatever it is that they're offering. And if you want agents that are already bounded and well defined, then Marblism, it may be just exactly what you need. And in fact, yesterday in my mastermind group, one of the people there, a couple of the people there were saying, oh, I use Marblism for this and that and this and that. And it's like, and I went, oh my God, I forgot. I turned mine off. So after I fix my issue with X, I will go back and turn it on, and use it for what it's intended for, while I continue to explore these other things, because another member of my mastermind group is sharing all the wonderful things they're doing with Claude and Claude CoWork, especially the automated stuff. They say that they've got one part of their business that's the human facing, where they actually go out and talk to real people. There is that part, but the rest of their business is automated. In fact, they leave their laptop open at night and they tell Claude or Claude CoWork, go run these tasks every night, and it does it while they sleep. And they come down the next morning and they have a list of new people that they should go out and actually talk to. So I'm like, that's so cool. That's been my dream for ages and ages. So for those people, Dean knows them as well as some of the people who are here in my mastermind group. They're the ones who are doing the community postcard business, and they share with they have their own little community where they share all this stuff that they're doing. And so I mean, they're learning exactly what they're doing too. So um, it's such a thrilling time. So let me just go ahead and share with you from Claude. So yes, Sarah, I hear you. I want to spend time doing things that this group finds useful. So I will come back next week and share a lot more about Marblism and how I'm using it, especially as I restart it. I'm putting up Claude here because, hold on, I think this was the conversation I had with it about, no, well, okay, first of all, I wanted to prepare for this event. And this is where I gave it the prompt: you are a master networker, create a strategy to make connections at the Achieve Business Conference in Denver. I don't need to meet everyone, but I do need a quick way to create contacts, notes, and snap selfies. And then it says, oh, the selfie thing really works. One unique edge you have as an introvert, getting back into it after years, because most of my network has been online. So then it gave me this whole networking strategy. This is where it said you should have business cards. And I said, I don't have business cards. How about a QR code? And it says, nah. And so it wanted me to do this quick print. And then I said, people really don't use their phones? And it said, in 2026, people absolutely use their phones. QR codes are completely normal. Post scanning a QR code to pay for coffee, nobody thinks twice about it. So we had this great conversation. It helped me at least verify in my own mind what I was going to do. I was going to do this anyway, but I'd kind of forgotten about it in my flurry of getting ready for the conference. So I just wanted to share that. The other thing that I wanted to share was, hold on, was it this one? I had also had a similar conversation with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was going to help me create a mobile landing page in Canva. And it actually did. It came up with some beautiful designs using Canva. I connected it to Canva, and it used Canva. The problem was it would give me a link and says, here, click on this link and you'll find it in your Canva account. Never worked. Never worked. Here's the difference, though. I went to Claude, and I pretty much had a very similar conversation. It made other designs, but it was the same idea. Same thing. Here, click here. I said, it doesn't work. Here's the difference. Claude said, oh, okay, here, go sign up for Netlify. Go for the free version. It will give you a link after you. It walked me through creating the mobile landing page in Canva, which then you can then create a URL to that design that you just created with the links, to your LinkedIn and whatever else. And it said, great. So go over to Netlify, give that link over to Netlify, and Netlify will host it for you so you don't run into this problem again with Canva. So it's they both ran into the same issue, but Claude took the extra step to tell me how to work around it without even being asked. I mean, I did. I just said I complained. I complained with ChatGPT too, but Claude told me how to fix it. So, yeah. Okay.
What's Peggy doing? It looked like we had a fashion show. Thanks, Peggy.
I'm getting ready to move on to the next thing as soon as we're done with this meeting.
So I know we're 5 minutes early. Unless anyone has any questions, I will go ahead and end this one early because the session has come out and this place is going to get even noisier than it is now. So.
Terza, I sent you some emails. If you get a chance, check them, and before Monday, I probably.
So maybe we move forward, just push it forward a day or two.
Okay.
But let me know.
All right.
Email.
I'll do that. Thank you, Yuri. Sarah.
And Terza, you just mentioned something about a meeting or something or training session on Marblism in a couple hours or an hour. Is that where you are right now, or is that online?
No,
It's
no, that
online.
will be online.
Is that with Rach and Dalton?
No. It's from Marblism itself.
Ah, okay, okay. So do
Uh-huh.
you have to be registered for you have to have a Marblism account? Is that it to
Yes,
go?
yes. And
Okay.
then and they also have an active Facebook group again for people who are already using Marblism. So I'm sure the information will either be recorded or they will repeat it again in their Facebook group. I will go through that and craft it into a presentation for this group.
That would be fabulous.
So
That would be fabulous. Thank you.
uh,
Okay. Where
thank you,
are you?
everybody.
Where are you, Terza? Are you at a conference?
Yes,
Is
I'm
that,
in Denver. Oh, yes, you came in a little bit late.
I guess,
This
yeah, I'm
is
sorry.
the hang on, Achieve Business Explosion Conference.
Oh,
And it's today and tomorrow. This is the networking event is today. There'll be speed networking. There's expert-led tables. They did already have one keynote speaker. And tomorrow will be all about the different speakers who sound equally fabulous to the one that was today. And each day ends with a happy hour at 5, which, as we all know, is a really great place to network. So I'm not
yes.
spending the night here, but
Excellent, excellent. Well, much
I'll stay.
success.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you all for coming, and we will see you again next week.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Terza. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome, awesome.